Warning, the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders is intended for a mature audience only. The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond since 2011. You're listening to the RCWR Show. Now, your host, live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, what's going on? Good kind of people. Checking out Monday night edition of the RCWR Show for March 22nd, 2021. What is up? Covering the latest in all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. This November, we officially mark our 10th anniversary, our 10th year doing this. Before you know it, that 10th anniversary is going to be right here, man. Tell you what. All right, Raw went off not too long ago. We'll talk about that a little bit. Gonna do a nice little short show for tonight. Try to keep it as condensed as we possibly can because we're gonna be coming right back here Wednesday night. Yeah, I'll give you the skinny on that in a hot second. We streaming on multiple outlets. As always, take your pick. We're streaming on the Periscope, the Twitter. We got the YouTube going on. We got the Twitch. We got the Facebook. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. Appreciate those of you that's tuning in live. By the way, let me know. I'm going to be saying this a couple of more times on the shows for this week. I began doing it, I want to say Sunday is when it started. But I'm using a new light setup. I pretty much just kind of give our longtime listeners a little bit of an idea. I normally would have my lights that's over my head on. That combined with I've got a side light here on my left or right here, my respective right, and I have the exact opposite going on my left. And I've got this new light that's sitting on my desk, and I mean this bad boy is pretty strong. I mean what you're seeing right now, it's not the strongest, nowhere near. I'm only using about 5% of the light from this new light source. So let me know if you want me to play around with the light a little bit more, if it's perfect. And I'll give you guys a better idea sometime this week. I'll actually do a side-by-side comparison, and you guys can pretty much kind of help me figure out which lighting setup I should go with going forward. But this kind of feels a little bit more... It kind of feels like a little bit more, not too much light, you know, just right to a certain degree. So we'll see how this plays out here. But yeah, the only thing I have on is this light, and off to the side, I pretty much got a headshot photography light that's off to the cuff here. So yeah, good stuff there. Pretty good weekend. Yeah, I would have to say, you know, when you think about this past week that we had wrapped up, it was really a great week for the wrestling fan. If you really take a step back and you think about it, it really was a good week, especially when it all culminated in the return of the NWA back for the Attack pay-per-view event, which when you look back on it in retrospect, it basically was the setup for the next several weeks of NWA Power programming. NWA Power is going to be back on the saddle again effectively this coming Tuesday, 7:05 p.m. Eastern. You'll be able to catch it exclusively on Fight TV. As I alluded to on the NWA post show we did Sunday night, I told you guys, NWA Power, all future episodes, it's now exclusive to Fight TV. And if you want to be able to check it out, you're going to have to pony up a little bit of money. You're going to have to pay just 5 smackaroos. So think about that. You got an interesting choice to make. Do you spend that $5 on that nasty ass foot-long sandwich from Subway? Bad enough they're now making the headlines, and it's a case of, is it really tuna? Sources say it's not tuna. Is it really bread? Sources say it's not really bread. Don't even get us started on the cookies. I know some of us love those oatmeal raisin cookies and those chocolate chip cookies. Well, those aren't sometimes chocolate chips, and those aren't sometimes raisins. what's going on there? So do you spend that $5 on that nasty ass footlong, or do you go on ahead and really make an investment, spend that $5 and get you a whole month's worth of episodes of NWA Power? I mean, that kind of seems like a no-brainer, right? But you got some folks, hey, brother gotta eat. Hey, sister gotta eat. Hey, I feel you, but hopefully you'll be able to check that out, because now that NWA is back in the saddle again, I'm definitely going to be talking about the promotion on a more consistent basis. By the way, shout out to those of you that had checked out the NWA post-show pay-per-view recap we did. Appreciate you guys. That was some serious hustle, because we literally had to turn, like, as soon as that post-show was done, literally had to turn right around, watch Fastlane, and then come immediately live on air after Fastlane wrapped up. So it was a nice little W whammy that went down on Sunday, yo. Hope your weekend was pretty good. Your week's going off to a good start so far. Mine is pretty good. For those of you that might be wondering a little bit, I am feeling a lot better. As I had made you guys aware, I had took my very first COVID shot on Friday. And I really didn't, get a chance to really speak about it at great length. So it's okay if you really didn't hear me tease it or at least talk about it very briefly on last week's shows. But it was interesting because I had set myself up through 3 different outlets, right? So one of my outlets that was available to me, but I did not tap into, it was through my employer. I could have easily went to the pharmacy there, tell them, hey, I want to get my COVID. But the way they operate, it's kind of like bingo. Randomly, they could just call you at any time. And then there's this weird stuff about how they want you to try to get the shot on your day off. And okay, so I got to drive about 30 minutes, 45 minutes to and from. I don't really want to deal with that. So I went with the next best thing. I signed up with my local healthcare provider, but then I also signed up on the .gov website for my respective county. And my whole thing was whoever is going to turn up first, and turns out the county was first. They hit me up. They had hit me up, I want to say it was Wednesday. So last Wednesday, they hit me up and they said, okay, hey, here you are. These are the times that we have available. Now, for those of you that are kind of relatively new about it and everything, and you're a little bit curious about, how does it work for the county process? How does that kind of pan out there? It's just so I can kind of get an idea there, Lee. It may vary depending on your respected state and county, but for me, the way it was, they basically sent me a courtesy email, and they said, look, we have your information. And, just be on the lookout for email from this unique URL. It's going to be from these people. When you see this, make sure you open it up. They're pretty much going to let you know the date and times that you have available to come get your vaccine. And sure enough, like, I wasn't expecting to hear anything from them for some weeks, but my God, I probably I did that last Wednesday. No. I did that about 2 weeks ago is when I filled out my information on the county website. And then last Wednesday, they hit me up and they said, okay, these are the times that we have available. Now, again, it might be different in your respective neck of the woods, but for me, they basically gave me only one day, and it was that Friday. And they gave me the times that were available. And I coordinated with my girl. I said, look, because she happened to be off on Friday. I said, look, this is what's going on. What do you think? And she's like, okay, well, you know what? It probably makes more sense to go on ahead and get it done as early in the morning as possible because, school is now back into effect. People are kind of getting back into the groove, going to work and everything. Maybe first thing in the morning is our best shot. We can really be in and out. I'm thinking, yeah, that's bet. Probably, yeah. So the very first appointment that they had available that Friday morning, it was a 8:10 in the morning was the first appointment that they had. And so I took that, and it was funny because my girl came home from work that what was it? Thursday night, she came home very late. She's accepted a new position at the office, and as a result, it's kind of having her work later hours. I'm not really a fan of it, particularly because we're really kind of coming off like two passing ships to a certain degree, but we're making up where we can. My whole thing is it's been dominating when she's been off work, and I trust me, I've already had a nice little lengthy conversation with her about that, telling her in a nutshell, you got to find that balance. But we uh we went in Friday. Were holding it at a school. The vaccinations, they were holding it at a school, so we went there. Spacious school, very spacious school. We went there. We were in the line, and it was hilarious because we're standing there. We're pretty much on time. The line wasn't that bad. I would say there was probably maybe about I would say there was probably about maybe 45 people, maybe up to 50 that were ahead of us. So it wasn't that bad. It did like this cool end wrap around pretty much to where the line had ended and where we need to get in and everything. But man, I was so happy when we got there when we did, because within about 15 minutes of us being there, I say to my girl, hey, what's going on with the line behind us? Has it picked up some? And she says, oh, yeah, it's quite significant. It's gotten a lot bigger since we got here. There's loads more people. Check it out. And sure enough, I turn around, and now there was probably an additional, I would say, there was probably an additional 40 people behind us. So just think about that for a second. If I'm already telling you from the point that we entered the line, and there was probably about 45 to 50 people ahead of us, and now within a 15-minute time span, give or take, we got about an additional 40, 45 people behind us. That lets you know, oh, what the hell. Man, we were standing out there in the cold, and it was fucking, oh, of all the days to be out there. See, it wasn't so much it being so cold. It was the fact that we were dealing with wind chills. It was in the low 30s around that time, and the weather for that day, it had called for it being in the mid 50s. And we're going, okay, what the hell? The sun was out and everything. That was the most craziest part. The sun was out, but it was cold as hell because we were dealing with strong winds. A lot of people, there were so many people that thought they were just going to be in and out. You saw people that were just wearing their sweaters. Some people were wearing t-shirts. They really thought they were going to be in and out, but that was not the case. And the line finally did not start get moving until probably about 8:30. I would have to say that's when it finally got moving, which kind of made some of us question, okay, well, why have us take these appointment times and we're just standing out there and we're not able to get inside, and like that doesn't make any sense. But then, the more and more that you kind of thought about it, it was basically, no, you know what? This is probably their way of just making sure they're keeping track of, okay, we gave this time and date to this person. It's just their way of kind of keeping proper documentation, right? So 8:30, line had finally started to move. I would say probably by about, yeah, because we got there at about 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock is when we got there. And the line finally didn't start moving until 8:30. We didn't finally see the inside of the school until I would say about 8:40. And then from there, once we're inside, I mean, it was pretty much smooth sailing after that, it was interesting, very well organized. I have to say, they kept having the communication be there for us while we were waiting, letting us know what all was going on and everything. So it was organized. I would say pretty good. You had elderly people that were coming in, those that were handicapped or just had some type of disability, and their liaisons were basically coming and, hey, we need a wheelchair, or, hey, this person needs to go inside because, they can't be waiting out here in the cold. And it was really nice how they had, I won't say volunteers, because I would imagine they definitely were getting paid for their time. So I don't think those were volunteers. I could be wrong though. But it was well organized how the workers had everything laid out, how they were going about helping people and everything. So once we got inside the school, we then walked up to these long tables, and pretty much they had like about 5, 6 tables, and they're all numbered. And pretty much you went to the table where somebody was available, and it was basically like a two-man group. You had one person that was in front of a computer that basically was typing in your information, and you had another person that was behind them or kind of beside them, and they were asking you all the COVID questions. Have you traveled in the last 90 days? Have you done this? Have you done that? And so, we went through that. There's a validating process, basically. They ask you for your name, your date of birth, and all that. Once you give that information to them, then they ask you those preliminary questions. Once we got past that, then we went to another section. This was pretty much the final section, where it was, okay, this is the line. You wait right here. You're going to get your shots. And it was interesting because as we were waiting, this was my first shot, right? As I'm waiting to get my first shot, constantly the nurse was walking up and down, and she was saying, anybody here for a second shot? Is anybody here for a second shot? And those that were there for a second shot, and they had their card to prove that they had already been given their first shot and everything, they basically got to bypass the line. They got to pretty much come up ahead, and pretty much they were able to go into I guess an express line for those that, okay, they need their second shot. And they were kind of out of there a little bit quicker and everything. So it wasn't really that much of a delay, as about 2, maybe 3 people had went ahead of me that were there for their second shot. Finally, after about, in that final phase, I probably waited about maybe 5 minutes at most. The line was moving, but about 5 minutes at most. Then the line moved, and we finally came in. I sat down and everything. Just rolled my arm up and got my shot, got my card, and they pretty much said, "Hey, we'll give you all the information as far as what's going to be going down, where we're going to be doing, because we're not really sure right now where we're going to be in a month. But you'll get the information, and, we know now, when we need to contact you and, get your appointment set up so you can get the second shot and everything. So don't worry, we'll be in touch with you. But yeah, right now we don't know where we're going to be holding the next vaccine dose event." Like, okay, all right, cool, no problem. And so it was cool, but I will say there were some side effects that I had personally experienced in getting the shot. That day, as a matter of fact, I remember, man, we weren't even in the car for about 5 minutes. Now, let me set this up properly, because I want to make sure you guys are prepared for when you or your loved one goes and gets this shot. After you get done taking that shot, there's basically an evaluation area, kind of like a little holding area, where you're expected to go and just sit down, chill out for about 15, 20 minutes. That way, if there's any side effects, something weird is going on, you can pretty much get some help right then and there. Like if it exceeds the normal, oh no, it comes with the territory, because when you take that first dose, you are going to experience fatigue. You're gonna, for some people, I definitely was one of those people that experienced it. You're gonna experience fatigue. You're gonna be tired. You're gonna be experiencing muscle joint pain. You're gonna be feeling a bit groggy. You're gonna be feeling a little bit nauseous. You may experience a headache. And once I got my shot and everything, my girl was trying to say, "Hey, won't we wait right here? Remember, they said we need to wait right here." I said, "Nah, I'm just ready to go. Let's just get out of here." So grand total, we were there about an hour. That's not bad, right? Compared to some of the horrific stories you had heard about from a couple of weeks ago. You had some people that were waiting in line for 3, 4, 5 hours. And when it was all said and done, they didn't even get their goddamn shot. Oof. Talk about rough. But nah, we were there for like barely an hour. So anyway, so I say to the missus, let's go grab a bite to eat. Let's go through the McDonald's drive-thru. It's early. Let's get some breakfast. And luckily she was driving because originally I was supposed to drive, but she wanted to drive. And I mean, just wham, I started feeling groggy. The headache started kicking in, was feeling tired, all of that shit. And so, we got the breakfast. We came on home. I pretty much ate that. And I had spent she'll tell you, I spent all of Friday sleeping. All of Friday sleeping. I had the nerve to get up and go to work the next day. Let me tell you something. I had no business going to work. That was just, oof. I mainly went because it was just a couple of hours, pretty much in and out. But I had no business going up there. I was still dealing with those same symptoms I just described to you guys the next day. And it was really cool because when you get your shot, there's this thing called V-Safe. Those of you that got your vaccinations, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's basically connected to the CDC, Center of Disease and Control. And basically, if you decide you want to participate in this, they basically will check in on you every day for like the first 5 to 7 days, seeing how you are, and they're recording all the information that you give them and everything, and they pretty much pass it along to the CDC. So I opt in to do that, and I'm, letting them know what's going on and everything. But Saturday, yeah, I had no business even going to work. It had got so bad, I contemplated calling my girl and saying, come get me, because I just don't feel good. So bad, like I was at work operating with one hand. Now some of you guys be like, damn, Lee, it hurt to move my arm, which got the shot. It felt really difficult to move the arm around and everything. Again, everything kind of ties back into, joints, joint discomfort and all of that. It all ties back to that. But yeah, that left arm, it was just, no, it hurt like a bitch to move it around and everything. So, Sunday, I pretty much, I felt a little better, but I did sleep about half the day. I really was not out of the neck of the woods. I would say not until about, really, if I'm being truthfully honest, probably not until about, I would say midday Monday. So today is when I finally felt back to my normal, hey, I'm feeling pretty energetic. I feel I can move around. I can do this. I can do that, So heads up about that. I hear from a lot of people that, hey, you think that first shot is something? Wait until you get the second shot. So yeah. Just FYI. So now you guys know, for those of you that curious about the entire experience and everything, now you know. Don't let anything that I'm telling you, scare you or anything like that. It's different for everybody. You may not even get any of those symptoms. Like my friend, my best friend Tasha, she didn't have any of those symptoms when she got her first shot. The only thing she had was kind of a swollen arm. She felt a little bit of discomfort, but she pretty much was bouncing around and everything. That same day, she was good. She was good. But for others, like me and, a few others may not be as fortunate. So, just, make sure if you're going in and you're getting that first shot, you just really take it easy, and, you don't try to push yourself. You definitely want to, if you can help it, if you can afford to, or if maybe you can take a personal day or use some PTO, when you get that first shot, just make sure you take the next day off. just to make sure nothing weird is going on. Because the last thing you need to do is have something weird go down. You're at work, or heaven forbid, you're driving. You're driving a vehicle. Yeah. Yeah. So, speaking of COVID and, health, safety, and all that, I was going to talk about it a little bit later on. But how about that news about Charlotte Flair? Jesus Christ. Definitely, I want to send, it's nothing to be, sad about, or anything like that, because she's rather young. She's very healthy, very athletic. She takes her training and conditioning, all of that seriously and everything. But in case you had missed it, Charlotte Flair had revealed on social media earlier tonight that she had been diagnosed with COVID. And she said, hey, if you guys have been wondering where I've been these past several weeks, I totally hear you. I understand. It's just that I got diagnosed with COVID. I have COVID. So I've been, recovering from it, taking it easy and everything. I miss you guys. I'll see you guys real soon. So you hear that and you go, oh man, that freaking sucks. Look, I know that there's definitely, it's not me that feels this way. Let me first make sure I say that before I even go any further, because sometimes words can be misconstrued, as we all know. I know that there are some people that heard this news about Charlotte and they are in euphoria over the fact that she got COVID, because this basically means, oh, great, now we don't have to worry about her performing at WrestleMania. Guys, look. I don't care who you are. We can disagree about a lot of things with regards to pro wrestling, promotions we want to root for, stars we want to root for, and all of that. Look, we all got our preferences. But the one thing unanimously we all need to be able to agree upon is the last thing that you and I, we as a wrestling community, as a majority of fans, want to be doing is wishing some type of physical harm, or even death for that matter, on an athlete, on a performer. When you get to that point, you got to really take a step back and you got to really question, God damn, what is going on in my own personal life that has me going down this particular tunnel where I'm wishing death or ill will upon somebody else? Wait a minute, how old am I again? You got some, kids, teens, a little naive, don't know any better, lash out. It's like, okay, there's teachable moments right there. But what do you say to that person that's a grown-ass man? What do you say to that person that's a grown-ass woman? And it's like, whoa, you should know better. Wait a minute here. Let's pump the brakes a minute here. What's going on here? It was really disturbing to see that there were people that, were happy to hear that Charlotte had COVID, because it meant she's out of WrestleMania. It's like, Jesus Christ, priorities. Like, I don't care. As a wrestling fan, I never got upset. And I've been watching wrestling since the mid 80s. I've never, as a fan, got that upset at a performer, or just outside of wrestling, just at an athlete. I never got that upset at somebody. If somebody just rubbed me the wrong way and I particularly didn't care about them, I just made it a passion to dodge them and their work at all costs. I just dodged them. I didn't acknowledge them. I ain't bring them up in conversation. If my friends or family would bring them up, I just was like, yeah, that's cool. I don't particularly care for that. They take the hint and talk about something else. But Jesus, y'all got you, especially if you're an adult, you got to get your head checked. If you rolling like that. Now look, you hear that news and you legit feel bad, but there's a part of you that's like, seems like divine intervention maybe stepped in a little bit or something like that. That's a little bad, but I could kind of respect that just a tiny little bit. It's a lot better than, celebrating the fact that somebody got sick. It's better than that. I will say that much, right? But, look, we know that she's going to be okay. We know that without a shadow of a doubt. Look at her. Look at her. I mean, she is a great, as far as from a physical standpoint goes, I mean, she is excellent. God, I follow her on some of her social media outlets, and that girl, when is she not training? So we know that this is somebody that definitely is going to be okay when it's all said and done. Now, this is a perfect segue too. Charlotte Flair, by the way, speedy recovery. I mean, not that you need it, because we already know it's going to be there for you, but speedy recovery. Look forward to seeing you back in the ring down the road there. Take your time. It's better to come back at 120% than, try to rush it. So speedy recovery to you. Now, good segue. I wasn't even aware of this news, but if you go on my Twitter timeline and you check the post that I put out there, this was a few hours before Charlotte revealed the COVID news. I had put a message out there where I said, all right, I'm paraphrasing here, but you can see it on the Twitter timeline because I really wasn't tweeting that much tonight, so you can easily retrieve it. So I'm paraphrasing. I said, okay, I don't know what exactly the plan is for Rhea Ripley tonight. Now that she is officially part of the Raw roster and she's making her Raw debut as such. Me, personally, my prediction, what should happen? And you see this for yourself. If I'm lying, you can call me out on it. Go on my Twitter timeline. You can see it. I said, my prediction, what do you do? I said I would have Rhea Ripley pop up, have everything come full circle for her. Remember how she had lost the championship and everything. Do that revisionist history. Have her show up, put her in a position where she challenges Charlotte for the spot at WrestleMania and somehow is able to maneuver her way into being the number one contender that could take on Asuka for the championship. That's exactly what I said. If I had even more space, there would have been a lot more I would have added to it. But I'm looking at my direct tweet right now, and it's so funny because one of the last tweets you see, I say something along the lines of, well, this aged well. And here's the exact tweet. I said, not exactly sure where things stand between Charlotte and WWE. And I was reacting basically, if you kind of read in between the lines, I was reacting to the fact that Andrade is gone from WWE. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I said, not exactly sure where things stand between Charlotte and WWE. To be fair, we will know tonight with WWE RAW. But me personally, prediction for Rhea Ripley. Comes in looking to have things come full circle, defeats Flair to advance to Mania to face Asuka and defeat for the title. How scary is that, guys? Just to take a step, just think about how scary that is. And when I put that out at 4:46 p.m. Eastern this afternoon. Charlotte did not reveal the news about her COVID. Let's look here. Charlotte did not reveal the news about her COVID until 8:13 p.m. Eastern. Again, 8:13 p.m. Eastern. Now, you guys just got to take a step back and you got to say, yeah, I've predicted some things on the show over the years that's come to fruition, and you guys are very observant and you're always quick to bring it to my attention. But y'all got to admit, what I said right there is very fucking eerie. Very fucking eerie. Probably the only thing that actually did not happen was the fact that Charlotte was involved and Rhea Ripley ultimately being in that position of facing Charlotte for that Mania spot. It's probably the only thing that didn't happen, but otherwise, woo, boy, your man called it. Your man fucking called it over. I'm okay with how WWE essentially had to pull an audible. I'm actually okay with that. It's a nice built-in little story and everything. And I mean, not for nothing, but when Charlotte does come on back after this, you got a already nice little built-in history between Charlotte and Rhea. Again, all about that whole full circle thing for Rhea Ripley. I'm totally okay with that. Totally fucking okay with that. So that was, wow, kind of one of those days. Wasn't gonna talk about Andrade until, don't worry, we're gonna get into Raw. I only got a couple of key things I want to talk about with regards to Raw tonight, but just enjoy the show for what it's worth, okay? Because I like the flow that we're kind of on right now. It doesn't really make sense to do a hard stop when we kind of got these nice little, and I have no notes. There are no notes. That's right here. No notes whatsoever. This is pretty much all from memory here. All I've got is pretty much my phone, and that's it. And if you guys could just indulge me for a little bit, I'm a little bit curious where the hell my woman is. Give me 1 second here. Because she definitely should have been home by now. I got a feeling she's still up there at the job. Gotta find that balance, man. Gotta find that fucking balance. Not liking it whatsoever. Anyway, I'm gonna try to digress because I'm already starting to get a little upset. But anyway, Andrade. Let's talk a little bit about Andrade there. So as I had alluded to earlier, Andrade apparently got his release. For those of you that had joined the WWE Fastlane post show that we did on Sunday night, I know towards the end of the show, there were some of you that, I'm sure you wanted me to talk about that right then and there. It just did not make sense to talk about it on that show when Andrade didn't have anything to do with Fastlane whatsoever. Wasn't even on the card and all of that. That would have just had the show go in a, it's one thing if I get a super chat during a show and somebody asks a question and it's kind of like, well, you know what? They're doing a super chat. Okay, that's one thing. Not that you have to pay to, have a question be asked or whatever, but in this particular case, it's not. All we're talking about is just one topic. We're just talking about this pay-per-view. That's it. We're pretty much going to be in and out. Had I gotten a super chat, I probably would have spent a little bit of time talking about it and everything. But yeah, apparently over the weekend, Andrade was, I don't know for how long he had been requesting his release from the WWE, but, he shared on social media that there was a couple of moves that he was trying to make and see what happens, fingers crossed. And then when the news finally happened for him, he's teasing, hey, I got some really good news. You're going, what's going on there? You heard the rumblings there that he asked for his release. When I hear stuff like that, yeah, sure, it's great to react to it and everything in real time, but it's just pure speculation at that point in time. It's one thing if somebody were to ask me, well, what do you make about this situation that's going on? Speculation or not, what do you make? It's one thing if I'm asked, but as I always like to say, oh, good, she's home already, good. That's one thing. That's one thing. Hang on. That's one thing. But I'd rather be in a position where, okay, these are the facts. Here's exactly what's going on. So WWE, they officially put out a statement Sunday saying that Andrade had been released from his WWE contract. They wished him all the best in his future endeavors and everything like that. And, now all of a sudden We've got a whole bunch of people that are, yeah, Andrade, yeah, hell yeah. Now you're going to be able to go to a place where you can truly be respected, where you can truly be appreciated. Now all of a sudden we've got people all out of the woodworks that are pro Andrade. I call it exactly how I fucking see it. And if you don't believe me, you can just hop on your favorite wrestling forum. You can hop on your favorite social media platform, and just go do the timeline. Just go see what the hell was going on there with people, and you can catch them in their truest form with regards to how they feel about Andrade. How they felt about him long before he got his WWE release. You had people that were jumping out there, this guy's the drizzling shits. This guy fucking sucks. Why is this guy on my TV? Blah this, blah that. Now, me, personally, hey, I ain't fucking post and delete. I don't do that shit. I'm man enough to admit when I'm wrong about somebody 10 times max. So you can almost make the argument, okay, so maybe one a year where I've put something out there and it had nothing to do, like, particularly with an individual. Maybe I just felt that it happens to the best of us. Sometimes you post something on social media and you go, damn, I put that out there. But, man, what really would have been good is if I would have said this instead. And sadly, on a platform like Twitter, you don't have the capabilities of going in and edit that fucking post. Why you're not able to do that is fucking beyond me. I digress. I'm looking at you, Twitter. 2021, what's going on? Why do we not have an edit button in 2021? That makes no fucking sense whatsoever. Anyway, I digress. Back to the subject at hand. The only thing I've ever said about Andrade, I said, man, you know what? I don't like the fact that, and it's probably a Vince audible, I don't like the fact that they're trying to force Andrade to speak English. It's obvious that he's struggling. Let him continue on with the Rosetta Stone and with Charlotte Flair and family and clean up some of that English, because it's really broken right now. He's not coming off smooth just yet. He's not going to get over as a result. That's going to freaking hurt him. And remember, this was all coming at a time before the pandemic, when WWE was still performing in front of crowds of people. My whole thing was, no, let him speak in his own native language. Let there be a translator for him. I thought the greatest fucking compliment that happened with Andrade was when he was paired up with Zelina Vega. That was a great 1-2 freaking punch right there. A great 1-2 punch. Loved it. Fucking loved it. Then you're going ahead and you add Pepe Le Pew, Angel Garza, and for me, it just felt as though too many cooks in the kitchen now. I mean, you kind of saw a little bit of potential there, but for me personally, I just felt, you really didn't need it. It just felt like, well, what do we do with this guy? We'll just stick him over there. And it's like, we could have did better things with Pepe Le Pew Garza. We could have did better things. Zelina, Andrade, they were better just as themselves. Straight up. And, when I think about just that whole little trio there, remember there was a period there where it seemed as though Zelina Vega, not only was she following in the footsteps of Vicky Guerrero, but it seemed like she was destined to maybe reach that level of a career that AJ Lee had. And it's kind of crazy to think about, and I see how, and I kind of got myself a little caught up in it as well. Who can not forget when Zelina Vega was facing Asuka there? Was it Asuka she was facing for the championship? It was somebody she was facing for the championship. And we're like, man, she's so fucking tiny, you know, blah, this. You know, I remember getting myself kind of caught up in that whole moment, but then I kind of had to take a step back and I had to say to myself, Lee, not for nothing, dog, but you've been watching this girl way back in the Impact Wrestling days. You've always known that she was a tiny little thing. Come on now, what does this remind you of? Catch yourself. Sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes you got to catch yourself and be like, wait a minute. You know, and then you think about AJ Lee and all that, and it's like, well, okay. And so, you know, but it really seemed as though Zelina Vega was going to be that next Vicky Guerrero, that next AJ Lee. And yet, how things just collapsed afterwards. You know, look, and I hope that Zelina doesn't kind of have that thought in her head of, you know, well, is it my fault that Angel Garza, you know, is in the situation that he's in with WWE? Is it my fault that ultimately Andrade is no longer in the WWE? You know, I hope that she's not beating herself up like that, because she shouldn't. You know, at the end of the day, these are all grown-ass men and women that are fully mentally capable, sound in mind, of making their own decisions when it comes to their money, their careers, their livelihoods. Zelina Vega hit a crossroads in her personal and professional life and made the choice that she made. Okay? Now, for those that are kind of, oh, it's Zelina, it's not Zelina's fault. Keeping all of that in mind. It's not Zelina's fault where things are standing right now for some of these guys, particularly on Andrade. Because, look how long Andrade had been with WWE after Zelina Vega left. Look at all of those missed opportunities for Andrade to be involved in WWE programming. And yet nothing materialized. Nothing materialized. Andrade had all the potential in the world, man. All the potential in the world. He could have been an absolute great IC champion or a US champion. Hell, you know, at one point, you could have even entertained. I didn't say pull the trigger. I said entertained. There's a big difference. You could have entertained the idea of Andrade becoming a WWE champion. And, you know, sadly, once we got to that point of, well, let's just kind of break this all up and have these people kind of maybe go and do their own thing, then it's, okay, what are we doing here? You got potential right here with all of these guys working as a cohesive unit. Why are we doing this monopolizing of individual profit when they're so much stronger together as a unit? I mean, anybody can see that. What the hell? But once you started, you know, going that whole individual route, that's when it was officially the beginning of the end. Now look, after Zelina left, WWE still had plenty of opportunities there where they could have done some stuff, tried to make a conscious effort to do something good with Andrade. Never happened. Hell, at one point you had me and a couple of other people that said, well, you know what? Why not do something with Andrade and Charlotte Flair? It'll kind of give them both something to do there. And, you know, at this point, we're kind of grasping for straws. And I think we as fans were grasping for straws because we could not deny the potential that Andrade had as an in-ring performer. We knew what he was capable of in the ring. He just, for the time being, needed to be surrounded by by a good supporting cast that could essentially help carry him over on the parts where he was lacking, which basically, again, comes to the promos and all that. And yet, nothing for Andrade. It just continues to be hey, where's Andrade? Hey, what's going on with Andrade? He's still getting paid. What did I say last week? I got a lot of respect for somebody that shows great integrity by not just resting on their laurels and just, well, this is the hand that I'm being dealt with. I'm just going to work with this hand. And yeah, it is what it is. Fuck it. I'm good. As long as I'm getting paid, that's all that matters. Fuck it. Remember what I said last week? And I talked about the whole, hey, I had reached, the 1 year anniversary since I left my old job. Remember that? Go back and listen to those shows from last week. What I'm saying right now makes a lot of sense. Here you got a man right here in Andrade. Hey man, life is good. I'm engaged to the most beautiful woman in the entire world. One of the best performers that's on the WWE roster. Perhaps one of the best women that's out there today representing women's wrestling. She's from this great historic family. Man, life is good when I just look from those standpoints. But then, man, I'm living my dream here in America. I got this great job with the WWE. They ain't really using me right now. I'm just sitting on my ass at home collecting a paycheck. But man, you know what? Life is good. You got some people there's nothing wrong with that. Some people are like, hey, it is what it is. I'll take this money. Thank you. But then you got some people that go, nah, man, I didn't do, what did I say last week? Remember? I didn't do all this shit. I haven't been busting my ass since I was a little kid or a teenager. I haven't been doing all of these things just to get to this point in my career where I'm sitting on my ass and I'm collecting a paycheck. No, I want to go out there. I want to perform my art. I want to perform my craft. That is what I am so passionate about. Imagine, if you will. Just imagine. Just close your eyes for a second. Bam! You are a professional athlete. You ever wanted to play football? Boom, you got it. You ever wanted to play basketball? Bam, you got it. All right? You got all the talents in the world. Now, I'm not saying you're the next Michael Jordan or you're the next Walter Payton or you're the next Peyton Manning. I'm not saying that. But you got talent. There's no doubt about it. Now, somebody decides they want to hire you. They want to tap into your talents. They do a great sales pitch on you and tell you why you need to come join their team and all of that. Everything sounds good with the portfolio. Math-wise, number seems good. What they're trying to pay you, you're like, yeah, let's do it. Let's fucking do it. And then you find out once you get there, you're basically sitting on your ass. You're not just sitting on your ass for a couple of weeks. You're sitting on your ass there for several months. Several months. So what happens right there? What happens? You know what you're capable of. Especially if you feel, nah, you know what, man? I'm more deserving of being second or third string or being part of the practice squad. I should be out there and I should be performing on a weekly basis. Okay, so what do you do? What do you do at that point? You got a decision to make. A difficult decision to make. Do you rock the boat a little bit and do you try to see if you can get out of your contract so you can jump out there and get what you feel is rightfully yours? What do you do right there? And that's exactly what Andrade found himself, I think, in the position that he was in. When you have a position where creatively nothing has been clicking, nothing has been working, nobody's even fucking tried, yeah, your patience is going to run very, very thin. And ultimately, you're going to say, you know what? Bump this. I'm ready to move on. I think it was kind of bittersweet that Andrade had sent heartfelt thanks to, who was it? Triple H. He also gave heartfelt thanks to Paul Heyman and William Regal. These were individuals that you could definitely, the pinnacle of Andrade, when he was just, you could say, on fire. Those three men in some shape or form had something to do with it. And now it's just, your guess is as good as mine, what's going to be happening with him in the future. I would imagine that, he's probably going to be staying in the U.S. Where he possibly could be going, I know a lot of people is so quick to go the AEW route and everything like that. I think AEW needs to, I'm gonna call it for what it's worth. Because every single time now we get somebody that's released from WWE, we got everybody that wants to go, AEW bound. Eventually AEW needs to put their foot down and they need to go, okay, you know what? We got enough talent on our roster as it is right now. We've got a decent amount of household names. We have a decent amount of veterans that's helping us out. We've got a decent amount of former WWE stars that's helping us out. We've got a decent amount of undercard talents that eventually can become household names. We've got part of our roster that has names of talents that's from many different parts of the indie scene that probably most fans never have even checked out, but they probably will now that they've checked out some of these stars that we got on our roster. You can't get too oversaturated. That's the point that I'm making. And we got to be very, very, if you're AEW, you got to be very, very careful, and you got to tread lightly, because the last thing that you want to do is be put in a situation. Remember how it was at the height of TNA. It got to a point where running gag, TNA, there they are taking in the sloppy WWE seconds there. Now, what am I always quick to tell you guys? I say, look, once a person is no longer working for said employer, they're a free agent. They can take their talents anywhere to whomever is hiring, offering a job. I still believe in that. This very day will never change. At the same time, though, two things can be said. That's true. So at the same time, though, AEW, they're loaded as it is right now. They really do not need to be adding every single Tom, Dick, Harry, Sue, Mary, Joe, Joanne. They don't need to be adding every single body that breaks away from WWE and sign them. They don't. You got more than enough talent for your AEW Dark Show. You got more than enough talent for your Dark Elevation. You got more than enough talent for your Dynamite. You're good right now. Work with the hand and the roster that you already have. You don't need to be too overbooked that you've got too many people on your roster. You're not utilizing them. And then essentially you're kind of back in the same boat where you're essentially paying people, not using them on TV or on the YouTube shows, and they're pretty much getting paid for nothing. They're sitting on their ass, basically. You don't need to be in a situation like that. Now, look, perfect world. And if AEW was really, really hurting, I would say, yeah, Andrade, AEW, that'd be pretty good. I'd say, you know what? Off the break, pair him up with Ray Phoenix and Pentagon. Pair him up with those. I think that would be a nice little, again, a new addition to, you would be expanding Death Triangle, so it essentially would no longer be Death Triangle, but having him included in that little entourage there, or maybe having him, team up with Eddie Kingston or something like, I wouldn't mind seeing something like that. That'd be good. But no, I definitely feel that Andrade is going to be staying in the U.S. I could definitely see him. I don't know about ROH. That's a long shot right there. That's a long shot right there. Would they even be able to afford him? Is my question. I could definitely see him in Impact. I could definitely see him in Impact Wrestling. And that's actually not a bad thing. Believe it or not. That's actually not a bad thing. But AEW, we need to pump the brakes on that for now. How you guys doing, man? You guys been enjoying the show so far? If you have, you know what to do. Oh yeah, it's that time. Go out of your way, please, if you haven't done so already. Make sure you hit that like button. You click on that subscribe and that bell notification so you never miss out on all the content that comes your way on a weekly basis. I'm looking at you guys that say, hey man, I didn't know you had did something new. Click that bell. make sure you set it up properly on your notifications so you'll always get the hookup. Let's get into some Patreon shout outs. And then we'll get into a little bit more. I think at that point we can definitely talk about some key points from Monday's WWE Raw. A couple of little tidbits we could dive into as well, and then we'll pretty much wrap it up. So when it's all said and done, we'll pretty much be doing just about it's about 12:07 a.m. right now on the East Coast. We'll probably be out of here a little bit before 12:30. Okay, so nice in out. But I'm liking this nice little flow that we got going on right now with the show so far. I'm liking it. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. That's where you can check out bonus audio, video content you won't be able to find anywhere else, beginning at $5 a month. Shout out to Anthony DeBlasi, Don Tony. Shout out to you, my friend. Shout out to Justin Ripstock. Shout out to Gino Morgan, Gino. Shout out to Freddie. Love you, Freddie. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Shout out to Jay Davis. Shout out to my good friend Tony Bing Gaming, one of the very latest in all things Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Marvel's Avengers by Square Enix, tips, tricks, news, walkthroughs, and reviews. Tony Bing Gaming, he's on YouTube. He has a Patreon paywall as well. And my man just did a new breakdown video of the Marvel Square Enix Avengers. Apparently there's a massive update that's coming where the game developer had acknowledged that, you know, they have dropped the ball a little bit and they're looking to make things right, try to make that game be very playable as far as the replay value goes, give those extra incentives for having fans come back and play the game. So they began to map out a nice little blueprint and everything. I kind of like what's being said. Who knows, maybe that might make me finally check the game out, because I remember playing the demo as well as everybody else, and the demo had a lot of potential, but our biggest takeaway for those of us that played the demo, it was, okay, you know what, there's not much that's desirable. You know, after you kind of get done doing these little things over here, you know, you're pretty much going to be going to go play something else. So it's nice to see that they're, you know, they realize what's going on. They've heard that criticism and they're working on steps to Cyberpunk 2077. If we can now do those massive patch updates already, so some of us can maybe start playing this game, that'd be nice. Yeah. But yeah, so check that out. He's got a Patreon paywall as well, Tony Bing Gaming. So AEW Dark Elevation was earlier tonight. Quick rundown. I did watch it, by the way. Quick rundown of some of the matches here that went down tonight. Orange Cassidy. I won't spoil it for you guys that didn't watch Dark Elevation just yet. But Orange Cassidy faced Ryan Nemeth. You know, there's enough material there now on Ryan Nemeth. And let me say this. I gotta call it how I see it. He's like, I don't like saying this. You guys know, when I offer my criticism, constructive criticism at that, it's not to hurt anybody. Never. It's never, ever, ever personal. Never. Because when it's all said and done, I don't know these people, just as they don't know me, and they don't, you know, these athletes, these performers, they don't know most of their fans and all of that. What I say at the end of the day is a opinion, and, you know, I'm entitled to my opinion just as you guys are entitled to your opinion. Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong. I just got to preface that, because sometimes, you know, some of us, we get a little bit bent out of shape, especially when we hear stuff about, you know, a promotion or a talent that we really, really love. And when we hear something negative about that, it's kind of like, fuck this, you know, fuck that ass. You know, it's kind of like one of those type of deals. But let me tell you something. With regards to Ryan Nemeth, I'm going to call it exactly how I see it. He reminds me too much of a wannabe Dolph Ziggler. You know, and I can't help but wonder, okay, what's really your own identity here? You know, what are you really trying to carve out for a professional wrestling career for yourself? You know, do you really want to be known as the guy that's in the shadow of Dolph Ziggler? Do you really want to be known as the guy that is trying so hard to be a Dolph Ziggler? Even if you were to make the argument, well, no, Lee, he pretty much had came up with this first. And it was actually Dolph Ziggler that was inspired by Ryan, and even if you wanted to spin that, then to that I would say, okay, well, there's a big problem with that. Even if Ryan Nemeth did come up with it first, Dolph Ziggler was able to take it and make something out of it. Say what you will, but he still was able to take it and make something out of it, make it his own. I'm just not feeling Ryan Nemeth. I'm just not. There is something that is missing big time with this guy. The in-ring ability, he has nothing. I mean, he's not even scratching the surface of what Ziggler has. Nowhere near scratching the surface. As far as the mic skills go, he's nowhere near. When you dress the way that you dress, and you try to talk the way that you try to talk, and you look the way that you look, and your hair's dyed the way that it, I'm sorry. I'm going to call it how it is. And it's like, okay, this is poor man's version of Dolph Ziggler. I really need him to step out of that comfort zone, get really shaken up, and really try to find himself. And, I hope that he will be able to do so in AEW. But for right now, it's just off to a really rocky start for him. For me, he is essentially a channel changer at this point. I don't like saying that, but it's the God's to honest truth. Bland as fuck. Bland as fuck. Layla Hirsch took on Rhea Mizunami. Ethan Page took on Dark Order's 5. Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs were in action against Royce Isaacs and Jarrell Nelson. Baron Black took on Danny Limelight. That actually was a pretty good match. Leva Bates and Maddie Wernkowski faced Big Swole and Red Velvet. Yeah, I enjoyed that matchup. That actually was another one that was pretty good. Fuego del Sol and Jake St. Patrick versus Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison, Varsity Blondes. That actually was another one that was pretty damn good. Max Caster and Ryzen was good as well. Tay Conti, I actually missed a couple of minutes of Tay Conti and Ray Lynn. I pretty much saw the end of the match. Was a little disappointed at that one. Lee Johnson took on Adam Priest. And there was a Red Velvet Rising Stars segment, which you really connected with. It was pretty good and everything. I love the fact that Leva Bates, I mean, think about this for a second. Leva Bates had been spending all that time on social media, hey, I haven't had a match on a consistent basis on any of AEW's programming for weeks. What's going on? Don't you guys want to see me back in action? And, that's good. Sometimes you got to go on social media. You got to play the social media game. You got to get yourself those clicks, those engagements and everything. Get yourself a little bit of momentum there and, see, hey, look what's going on here. Yeah, can I get a match? Or however you got to do what you got to do, right? But in storyline, I love the fact that Leva Bates has this match here where she's teaming up with Maddie and they're facing Big Swole and Red Velvet. And at one point, you're obviously you're going back to the past history that Leva and Maddie have with each other, and you're going, okay, well, how well are they gonna work cohesively as a unit? Is it really gonna work out here, or is it? And shit just collapsed. I mean, big time. Shit just collapsed. And Leva Bates just leaves Maddie high and fucking dry. I laughed my ass off when I saw that shit. By the way, the Casino Royale commercial for the little video game, I don't know why I didn't catch this the very first week, but I caught it this go round. It's so funny when you got fucking Kenny Omega. He's getting ready to go into a club and he doesn't let one guy in because the guy's not wearing a fucking jacket. Yet when he goes into the fucking club, you got one of the members of the Dark Order, that has no shirt on. He's pretty much playing at the craps table or whatever. All he's got on is basically his trunks and his boots and shit, and he's, you know, shooting dice. Like, come on. I don't know what it is. I just laugh my ass off every time I see that little spot right there, man. Some funny shit. I got my wish though post match from that Leva Bates, Maddie taking on Big Swall and Red Velvet. Post match, Vicky Guerrero popped up, didn't do anything. Vicky Guerrero just popped up at the top of the stage ramp area with Nyla Rose on one side, Jade Cargill on the other. And if you remember checking out the shows from last week, if not even a week before, I had put the idea out there of Vicky Guerrero looking to explore, pretty much expand her portfolio of talent representation and tap into the services of Jade Cargill, or rather offer her services to Jade Cargill. And remember, I went into that whole maybe eventually down the road, you know, if you were to introduce a AEW women's tag team division, you could have Jade and Nyla Rose. I mean, they would have to be your shoe-in favorites to win the whole damn tournament and all that. But we got the beginning tonight of what appears to be Jade is aligned with Vicky Guerrero there. So, taste of things. I love that. I fucking love that. Just goes to show you that I don't know, man. I don't know. Look, there have been a few wrestling promotions over the years that I'm aware of where people, you know, they make their rounds, checking out things that certain shows are saying, taking down some little notes and all that. And you know, it just put a nice little smile on my face to see what I had saw tonight with Dark Elevation. So we'll see where that goes and everything. Let's see. Let's talk a little Raw tonight. First off, I don't know, man. I think my MVP for the month of March, I think I gotta just take a serious, strong step back, and I think I might have to give that nod to Sheamus. Sheamus has been on a roll this month, delivering some top-notch quality matches. I gotta give him mad fucking props, man. Shit that he was doing with Drew McIntyre past couple of weeks on WWE programming, you know, even though I didn't particularly care about it, you know, I'll admit when I see, yeah, these guys are going out there putting on a clinic, I'll admit that what they did at the Fastlane pay-per-view, that was a instant freaking classic. I definitely got to give them that. And then less than 24 hours later, Sheamus taking on Bobby Lashley, non-title matchup. That match was the shit. Loved it. I fucking loved every single minute of that matchup between those guys. I know that there were a lot of people that were just taking to social media and were very, very deeply concerned about what was going on with the Hurt Business, as it kind of came off to them as though, you know, oh man, it looks like WWE is trying to break up the Hurt Business. What the hell? What's going on here? Because Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, they were at ringside there, and you know, they were trying to help out their boy Lashley do a solid, but you know, Lashley, hey, you know, I don't need your help. You know, I got this. He's mine. I fucking got this. And, you know, Lashley went in there. He handled his business. Good fucking match. Damn good fucking match. Those boys went about, I would say about 12 minutes. Lashley making Sheamus tap out there after he did the full Nelson and all that. Great fucking match. There's a little bit of bipolarness that's going on here, though, and I'll explain more as we go. So, you know, post-match, Lashley, nice, hard, valiant effort there against Sheamus, standing tall, enjoying himself. Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, they're beating the crap out of Sheamus, while Lashley looks on and he's saying, what are you guys doing? The match is over. You don't need to do all that. I beat him. It's over. What the hell? This makes Drew McIntyre come out, and he's pretty much cleaning house on both of these guys. He's looking on at Lashley, gets in the ring, and they've got their stare down and everything. By the way, I love the trash talking that was going on between both men. I love the fact that Lashley intensified there in his trash talking with McIntyre. He has really been stepping his game up since he's become the champion. I definitely got to give him mad props for that. MVP holding him back. We ain't doing this, not here. We ain't doing this for free. We gonna be doing this at Mania. Stay cool, Mania. Business, right? Business, Mania. Let's go. Eventually gets him out of there and everything. Backstage segment, they run into Shelton and Cedric questioning what the hell did they do out there. What was their problem? And they made things worse by doing what they did out there at ringside and everything. And MVP had posed the question, how are you guys going to make up now to Lashley for what you guys did? So they decide to go to Adam Pearce and say, hey, look, how about a handicap match? Let us face Drew McIntyre 2-on-1. So they relay that information to Drew, or rather, they relay that information to Adam Pearce to give to Drew. Adam Pearce tells Drew, I'm going to shoot it down for you, no problem, because, come on, 2-on-1 handicap. But Drew actually tells Pearce to hold up and, no, you know what? Let's do this, but let's sweeten the kitty. If I defeat them, then they're banned at ringside at WrestleMania in my match against Lashley. Pearce loves the idea. He accepts. So this match, it's official. So later on in the night, we get Drew McIntyre taking on Cedric and Shelton Benjamin in that 2-on-1 handicap match, which was a damn good. I gotta say, as far as the match quality tonight for Raw, I gotta say, they kind of stepped it up. I will say that. They kind of stepped it up. It almost kind of felt as if, well, we got a couple of weeks there before Mania. Let's kind of, it seemed like they were trying to put a little bit of an extra effort out there. And it was very complimentary overall, the overall show. It was a bit complimentary to what they did at Fastlane to a certain degree. I will definitely admit that. Drew McIntyre defeating Cedric and Shelton Benjamin. So now, all right, now we know what's going on. MVP Lashley, they find out about the stipulations and the fact that the boys had lost. Lashley is livid. Now here is a case right here of stupid booking 101. I've tried to make sense out of it. I'll have to rely on you guys to try to help me and everybody else make sense out of it. But this is stupid booking 101. So Lashley is now upset at the fact that Shelton and Cedric could not get the job done defeating Drew McIntyre. And as a result, they're now banned from ringside. This has Lashley livid as he now goes to the locker room and makes a bold proclamation, a demand, if you will, to the roster. Anybody, any one of you guys that can hand me Drew McIntyre, make sure that he does not make it to WrestleMania. Take his ass out. You will get a shot against me for this WWE Championship. Now, I'm sorry. You know why that stupid booking 101? Don't be hating just yet. You know why that stupid booking 101? Think about the way Lashley, has essentially... Let's just look particularly at tonight. Just take tonight. We could expand further besides tonight, but let's just home in on tonight. We just had Lashley say to Cedric and Shelton, what are you guys doing out here? I don't need your help. I don't want your help. I got this. Go in the back. I don't need you. Then he's lashing them, tongue lashing big time on them being at ringside and all that. Want to know how they're going to make it up to him. All right, so they lose that match with Drew. He's so livid that they lost that he now goes and puts a bounty out on Drew McIntyre's head. But wait a minute, Lashley. Wait a minute here. You said you didn't need their help when you were taking on Sheamus. So thus, you are the type of champion that Nah, you don't need no mind games. You don't need no sorcery. You don't need no shenanigans. You don't need no fuckery. You can pretty much go and handle things yourself. So if they lost this, it was very inconsistent because, what I was expecting for Lashley to say, was something along the lines of, you boys don't understand. I don't need you guys fighting my battles. I'm handling my shit just fine. Y'all need to be worried about your own asses, and if anything, try to figure out how you gonna get some gold around them waists of yours, cause I got mine. Where's yours? Oh, that's right. You lost them a couple of weeks ago. Won't you go get that back and then come holler at me? I was ready for Lashley to say something along those lines, but it just comes off so bipolar right now. Of course, by looking at this new development where Drew McIntyre has this bounty on his head, now you can't help but wonder, Brock? I mean, you can't help but go there. A lot of us were expecting Brock at Fastlane, and boy, I tell you what, that would have been a nice little pleasant surprise, especially with what I had pitched and everything when I was offering predictions, but we didn't go in that direction. So, your guess is as good as mine. What's going on there, if anything is going on at all with Brock and WWE? But boy, post WrestleMania, what's going on? Your guess is as good as mine, but it is what it is. But some good matches. Some good matches on the card tonight for Raw. I actually enjoyed the match between Asuka and Peyton Royce, even though it was very predictable who was going to win that matchup. I mean, the title was not on the line. It was a straight up non-title matchup, but it was just pretty much obvious, who was going to come away with the dub and everything. But nonetheless, this gave, I will say this, between what Peyton Royce had did on Raw Talk and what she did here tonight, it was kind of a nice little soft reset on Peyton Royce, if you will. So I hope, if anything, especially after having this great outing with Asuka, I hope it puts her in a position where more opportunities will come for her on WWE program. And I always felt that between her and Billie Kay, she was the superior athlete in the ring and everything. She just needed to kind of get away from that, and this was good. Like I said, this was a nice little soft reset for her. We don't need to be saying push or any of those things just yet. It was a nice little soft reset, right? A nice soft reset, not a hard reset, a little soft reset. Nothing wrong with that. So post-match, and we kind of toyed around with this earlier here, but post-match, as Asuka was celebrating her dub, she got confronted by Rhea Ripley doing the grand entrance, all of that. Mentioned the fact that Charlotte said flat out, hey, Charlotte came down with the COVID. She challenged you after a week after you lost a tooth to a match at Mania, and then she's nowhere to be found now because she's got COVID. You need an opponent for Mania, so here I am. What's up? You and me, WrestleMania. Well, let's go. I can't wait to see Asuka lose this title. Look, Asuka's my girl. I love Asuka and everything, but the Asuka train for me, it's just, the party's over already. I ain't never hit the fast forward button so fast before in my life. Just seeing Asuka, I was ready for a serious Asuka to really step up to Rhea Ripley, and man, if there's ever a time where I had wanted to see English subtitle while Asuka was kind of talking serious there for a little bit, I definitely would have appreciated right there. But instead we get Asuka, oh yeah. I could have done without all of that shit, quite honestly. I'm sure that probably made your night hearing that shit. But yeah, me personally, I'm done with the Asuka train. Let's, we need to get off of it already and go on and go do something else. Oh, by the way, another development from Raw, Miz Morrison How about that CarMax commercial that they did? If you guys didn't see it yet, I'm sure they probably got it somewhere floating around online. But there were two CarMax commercial little joints that had featured Miz and Morrison. It was cute. It was cute. You know, the only thing, one little caveat there, you know, because I know a thing or two about marketing, PR, and all that. How are we gonna have them say at the end of the CarMax commercial, correct? You know, when instead it should actually be correct. You know, car wrecked. Like, it would have made more sense for them to, I don't know, it's just the little things. It's the little things, man. But apparently, Miz put out a challenge tonight against Bad Bunny to face him against Lord, oh my Lord. So it's gonna be Miz and apparently Bad Bunny at WrestleMania. And I could care less. Next up, Miz taking on Jeff Hardy. Boy, Hardy is moving so fucking slow now. It's not even funny, man. So matchup. Match barely went about 3 minutes as far as I could tell. I fast forward through the AJ Styles, Amos, New Day stuff. You know, there was a point in time where I really had enjoyed New Day and everything, but I never thought I'd find myself in 2021 saying, you know, when it comes to New Day, yeah, I'm more interested in what Xavier Woods is going to be doing for G4, the network, and everything now that he's part of the family. I'm more interested in that. I'm more interested in what's going on with Big E as a solo competitor, and Kofi. Well, Kofi's just Kofi. Kofi's always going to be there. But yeah, as far as New Day goes, I'm good. I'm tired of the New Day. I am so beyond tired of the New Day. It's not even fun. If I could have it my way, New Day would just be taking a little well-deserved break right now. Hurt Business, Shelton Benjamin, and Cedric Alexander would still be having the tag titles right now. Hell, just to even make this even more interesting, I would have Shelton and Cedric Alexander out there. You know, they want to put their nose in the champion. I would have them put their nose right in this business that's going on between AJ, Omaz, you know, New Day here. And, you know, oh, you guys just think you could just look past us, just overlook us after you take our titles, and like, yeah, and we're talking about challenges and all this other shit. I want to see somehow can still do it. They can still kind of redeem themselves here. I would love to see this develop into a triple threat at Mania for those tag titles. Now, the match between Kofi Kingston and AJ Styles, you know, Kofi Kingston won, but yeah, kind of little. I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it just felt a little odd. If you watch that match, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But that's the best word that I can describe for it. Found myself to be a little bit bored too with that matchup. Now, seeing Sheamus in that spot with Matt Riddle, that was hilarious. That little backstage segment there where Sheamus was being interviewed, and you got Matt Riddle riding on his little scooter bike there, and Sheamus wondering, you know, what the hell's going on? You know, why are you interrupting me? What's going on? And Matt Riddle is trying to calm him down a little bit. He's asking him his little oddball questions, and Sheamus essentially, hey, you know, is that your little scooter there? Let me see that. He's like, yeah, dude, I just ordered up. The wheels are totally good, man. And Sheamus is like, oh, yeah, fella, it's pretty good, huh? He's like, yeah, it rides around so smooth and all. And I just loved how Sheamus just basically took that scooter and pretty much beat the shit out of Matt Riddle with it. Actually, it was a nice little, hilarious little spot there. Love that shit. Love that fucking shit. Good shit, man. Other than that, we already talked about Drew in that handicap match. We already talked about that. Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke lost to, well, actually, I think, yeah, they lost to Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Another match, very short. You're lucky if this was even a 3-minute matchup. Reginald doing all his little backflips, and Nia Jax's outfit tonight made me want to drink a big ass pitcher of fruit punch Kool-Aid. I mean, oh yeah! I mean, she seriously made me want to go reach for that. I haven't had Kool-Aid in years. And that's the last thing I need to be drinking as a diabetic. But I mean, I mean, she just had me having flashbacks as a kid. Yeah, and I'm going, Ma, I'm thirsty. Well, go and take your ass in the fridge and get yourself a little cup of Kool-Aid. Bring me one too. It's hot. Okay. You know, and then go in there. Hey, ain't no more Kool-Aid. Who drunk all the Kool-Aid? You know, and you trying to figure, you doing a little interrogation, trying to find out who fucking drunk all the Kool-Aid. Yeah, Nia Jax had me just flashbacks of a nice little friendly little childhood, man. Thinking about that damn Kool-Aid. Big ass fucking. Who didn't have the little funky little sky blue pitcher in their goddamn fridge? That's usually what you use for the lemonade, and particularly what you had used for the Kool-Aid there. Load that motherfucker up with the sugar, man. Load that motherfucker up with the sugar. But watching Reginald do flips constantly in front of Nia Jax, and Nia Jax is just, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Flintstone's Pebbles. Like every single time Fred used to do something that Pebbles had really, really loved, she'd be clapping her hands and she'd be I mean, that's exactly how Nia Jax was rolling tonight, man. I was loving that shit. I'm loving the whole Reginald element and all that to it, man. I'm loving it. A lie is probably the stupidest what the fuck moment of the night, where you're just left speechless going, tell me I didn't just see that. Tell me I didn't just hear that. And that's literally what I had tweeted out during this match. A lie is taking on Braun Strowman. Obviously, Braun Strowman destroying the hell out of Elias. But that wasn't the real story here. The real story in this matchup was outside the ring. Braun Strowman essentially kind of, builds himself up as he's getting ready to go run around the fucking ring. And he's clotheslining the shit out of Jason Riker and Elias. But as he's revving up and he starts charging and goes around the ring, apparently Vince McMahon and crew decided,
You know what that big son of a bitch is missing? When it comes to him doing his little thing and he's clotheslining the people there on the outside there, you know what's missing? Because he kind of, you think about it, he kind of does it like like he's a train, if you will. Let's just picture this for a second. What if we had the train little choo-choo sound effects, right? Little choo-choo sound effects. You'd play that, and when he's getting ready to clothesline the hell out of somebody, you just kind of put in that little bang, you do a little diesel kind of effect there, right? But you gotta make sure you put in a little choo-choo.
They literally had Braun Strowman doing the fucking, you could hear the sound effect. I'm not saying Braun Strowman was going choo-choo. No, somebody played in the little PA system the choo-choo as Braun Strowman. And you got the commentators just, he's here. And they're really selling the hell out of this. I thought that was the most comedic, adolescent, reading Rainbow, Thomas the Choo-Choo Train, stupidest fucking shit I've ever seen and heard in my entire fucking life. And like I was telling, and shout out to her, JD, like I was telling JD on Twitter, I said, it ain't Braun's fault, but shit like that, that's why you got a lot of fans, including myself, that have fallen out of love with Braun Strowman. Because of stupid shit like that. When you got stupid shit like that, you combine that with Braun Strowman, coming out there.
I hate green eggs and ham. Sam, I am. Sam, I am.
You know, when you got him out there doing little stupid little nursery bullshit like that, and you combine that with him getting slimed like he's on a fucking episode of Double Dare on Nickelodeon, you know, yeah, monster among men. Yeah, no, you're not that. A monster, no, you're not that. A man, yeah, you're kind of that, but you, I just put my head down and I felt for Braun, man. I just. So apparently it's going to be Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon wrestling officially at WrestleMania. Yeah. So all I got to say about that. All I got to say about that. Main attraction of the night, Randy Orton. Randy Orton wanted to summon the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. And summon, he did. He summoned him, all right. Bray Wyatt appearing as that new Fiend get up from Sunday's pay-per-view. He appeared in the ring. Still got those nice little purple dim lights and everything. He bust out a little joint of gasoline. Poured it on Braun. I'm sorry, Braun. I got my guys mixed up. Poured it on the Fiend. Was getting ready to light a match when the Fiend charged at him. Hits him instantly with an RKO. And he decides, yeah, you know what? I'm going to do just what I was trying to do initially. And I'm going to set this guy on fire again. And hopefully this will do it. Alexa Bliss pops up. And then he's just looking on at her. And he's just ready to strike. I mean, the Viper's just coiled up. He is ready to freaking strike. He senses that the Fiend is starting to come to. But by the time he turns around, Fiend has already come to his feet. Gets his ass. Got that mandible claw, that trademark mandible claw in him. Does a Sister Abigail yet again. Lights out for Randy Orton. Raw pretty much goes off with Alexa Bliss pointing at the WrestleMania sign as it's set on fire. Message loud and clear. Fiend wants Randy Orton at WrestleMania. There was no Alexa Bliss riding the Viper tonight. Look, I'm not going to put too much emphasis on it. I think it's hilarious. I know that, Randy Orton's wife had said a little something, and she basically had said, Alexa Bliss, you don't fucked up now. And you got Randy Orton saying a little something on social media. And I think it's funny that you got people that are saying, Oh, Randy Orton, apparently he's in the doghouse now because he allowed Alexa Bliss to sit on his dick. And it's like, well, no, she sat on his stomach. You look at the angle of the fucking picture. She actually was sitting on his stomach. She was nowhere fucking near his dick by any means. But, hey, people will disagree and they'll go in. Okay, it is what it is. What people, it's so funny. It's so funny because it's extremely rare that Randy Orton's wife will make the news. Very fucking rare. She's one of the coolest fucking people. If you're able to follow her on social media, she's one of the coolest fucking people that's out there. She kind of reminds you a little bit to a degree of Rebby Hardy. As far as how outspoken she is and everything. Look, if I were to just chalk up what was going on there with social media and everything, I would just say the Ortons were having fun with you guys on social media. I can't tell you how many people were fucking online looking at that pic and they were going, look, first of all, us men, we look, and even women, because you got women that find Alexa Bliss to be attractive as well. Everybody's going, oh, shit, no, they didn't. Oh, man, I'm going to be having a hot one coming out tonight. God damn. I can just imagine people just, shit. I can just imagine that, okay? It was, for people that are going to lie and say, that wasn't erotic. There was no. Have you ever tried having somebody of the opposite sex, or if you're gay, just having somebody on top of you of the same, and you're, especially if you like them, especially if you think they're attractive. What, you're not supposed to? I mean, it's okay if you go, don't think happy thoughts, don't get horny, don't get horny, don't get horny. Think of a sad puppy, sad puppy, sad puppy, sad. It's okay. Look, what they did there at the end of Fastlane, there was a little bit of eroticness that was going on there in a very sadistic, demonic way. No doubt about that. But for everybody that was just online yesterday, oh shit, Randy's in the doghouse. Oh, Randy's in the doghouse. Oh, his wife gonna get his ass. He's cheating with Alexa Bliss. Randy Orton's wife isn't gonna like this. Meanwhile, majority of you motherfuckers don't even know how Randy Orton's wife look. Seriously. To those of you who do follow Randy Orton's wife, you all can back me up. Not only is she fucking extremely attractive, kudos to you, Randy. Not only is she extremely attractive, but she's got a little bit of a tomboyish thing going about her. She can play just as hard as Randy. She's all for good ribs and all that shit. I remember there was something, I think from last year or like 2 years ago, where they were like out on a beach or something like that, and she just came from behind Randy and RKO'd the shit out of him. He was a good sport too, because he sold the shit out of her. Like, as soon as he kind of knew she was behind him, he just went on ahead and just went with. I love that shit. It was hilarious. Randy's not in no doghouse. Randy's good. Randy's fucking good. Come on, use common sense. You don't think the minute it was decided Alexa Bliss, at the end of the Fast Lane, you don't think for a minute that just possibly, Randy had got on the phone. Hey, boo. I don't know why I got him sounding like Triple H, but, I just want to let you know, I love you very much, and you're going to see little Bliss get on top of me tonight. It's just part of the I don't even think they had that fucking conversation. Just 2 cents from a distance. I'm not even overanalyzing. Just 2 cents from a distance. Randy Orton's wife just comes off like somebody like, go handle your business. You're on the clock. I already know where you're going to be at the end of your shift. That's just how she fucking comes off. So, like, y'all need to just be chilling with that fucking shit. It's cute, though. Look, we all need a good hearty laugh from time to time. And, I do love a good fucking joke, but the dirt sheets and all that. Randy Orton committed adultery there with Alexa Bliss. He let Alexa Bliss ride the fucking snake. It's like, get off that shit. Get a life. Go get laid. Go get laid for real. Seriously. I love you guys, though. I love you guys. You got me smiling. You got everybody else smiling. We need that type of shit, especially in this day and age. We need that type of shit. Anyway, that pretty much was WWE Raw tonight. In a nutshell. How long we been recording? We've only been going about an hour, 44 minutes. Last little bit of stuff I want to get into. WrestleCon added a couple of more dates. I told you I was going to stay on top of this for you guys. It continues to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. Latest batch of names that's been added: Scott Hall, Gail Kim. So we got Hall, Kim, we got Jay White, Brooke Adams, all set for the event. They're joining the previously announced names. That includes Rick and Scott Steiner, Christian Cage, Enzo and Kaz, Al Snow, Layla L, Victoria, Matt Taven, Dean Malenko, Magnum TA, Leo Rush, Lex Luger, Brooke Hogan, Ted DiBiase, Jerry Lawler, Ron Simmons, Arn Anderson, Jake Roberts, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Sergeant Slaughter. Tickets went on sale earlier this month. Tickets are still available, much like tickets are still available single and little combo pod joints for WrestleMania are still available. I remember showing the WrestleMania tickets to my girl over the weekend, and I said, I can't believe that WrestleMania tickets are still available. And I was telling her how they had went on sale Friday, and here we were. At this point, it was Saturday morning, I think it was, right before she went out for work. And she said, well, can you, actually, no, it was Friday. It was like late Friday evening. Because I remember I went into another room to find her, and she was like, yeah, well, what do you expect? It's COVID. I said, yeah, but that price is this low. And if you ever wanted to go to Mania, now you fucking have the opportunity. And she was like, yeah, true, but I'm curious where things are going to be as we get ready to go into Wednesday. If the tickets are going to be sold out by then, we'll have to wait and see. Don't forget, the next episode of WWE Icons is going to be featuring Beth Phoenix. That's going to be arriving this Sunday. WWE Network on Peacock. Look into that. Shout out to Kaz XL. He made his debut for the SWE Fury as Melina's surprise. So check that out when you guys get a chance. The video is actually out on YouTube, so check it out. But it was the SWE Fury event where Big E had made his debut. So it looked pretty good. Looked pretty good. Happy to see the big fella is running around there and doing pretty good. Let's see. Other than that, some other interesting little tidbits I can bring to you right now. I know a lot of you guys, including myself, were sounding off on some of our takeaways on the WWE Network on Peacock. Some of us were having some streaming issues, whether it was we could no longer pause live events, rewind live events, or particularly if you had the problem that I had, which I documented at the top of the Fastlane post show. I had talked about the stream quality issues. If you were a Samsung TV owner and sadly there's no Peacock app, and so you had to do like little workarounds and all of that. Well, WWE had issued a statement about the complaints that they had been receiving. And they said any issues occurring with tonight's broadcast of Fastlane will be addressed in the future. That's pretty much what they had said. They kept it short. They kept it sweet. And, you would like to believe that basically, patches and all of that, you just give them a couple of weeks. Like I had said on the Fastlane post show, give them about 3 weeks tops, 3 to 5 weeks tops. And there should be a patch that's coming that's going to address some of those connectivity and other things that we brought up on the Fastlane post show. They should be addressed rather shortly. Let's see. Other than that, I am aware of the comments that, well, not really comments, but I'm aware of the blog posts that Mick Foley put out there, making his argument for Lex Luger going into the WWE Hall of Fame. I'm not going to get into it tonight because that's going to take us well past the 2-hour mark. And we're coming right back on Wednesday. And we could spend all the time in the world. That can be a much more deluxe of a episode we can do. No problem. But if you guys did not read Mick Foley's latest blog, what I want you guys to do between now and Wednesday, I want you to read his blog. Even if you've already read it, just between now and then, read it again. And then, so that way you could be prepared better for when we get ready to talk about it on the show. And I will definitely go all over the place with regards to his blog. I'll give you my overall takeaway on whether or not Lex Luger should go into the WWE Hall of Fame if Mick Foley makes very valid points and all of that. So I'll definitely leave you with that. Check that out when you get a chance. Other than that, rest in peace, Yafi Kodo. One of my favorite underrated black actors. If you're following me on social media, I said straight up, he reminded me a lot of the late Brian Denny, just better in some areas, sophisticated, a quiet rage about him, when it comes to his acting and everything, integrity. You're always able to, really kind of get that with a lot of the characters that he played. Whether it was Midnight Run, or Homicide, Life on the Streets. For me, very personal because that was shot right here, basically in the nation's capital. They did most of their shooting in Baltimore. True story. I actually met the actor that played Luther Mahoney from Homicide, Life on the Streets. Nice guy. Nice, sweet fucking guy. I must have chatted with him for like about 10 minutes. Took a picture and everything. I was actually on a photo assignment for my school, and it was after hours when I was doing this assignment, because it was like it was basically a fundraiser event that we were doing for the school and everything, and it was like it was a closed off fundraiser, but like there were like a lot of celebrities that were there that night, and there I was with my camera, and I kind of felt like Peter Parker running around doing my fucking thing and everything. It was pretty badass. It was pretty bad. Something I've never forgotten. Something I've always took with me to this very day. You know, but of course, Aliens, Othello. I don't know if you guys remember that all black production of Othello. But there's definitely some key moments there for me that I remember of him and his career and everything. And hell of an actor. You know, it was just his time. Nothing COVID related. It was just his time. Father Time. It's your time. Let's go. You know, so to be able to live a nice, long, you know, fruitful life and everything. Tell you, man, he made Homicide, Life on the Streets, man. I'm telling you, he made that. You could do any and everything else with other cast members, but I mean, let's be honest. Those of us that remember Homicide, Life on the Streets, that series was never the same once Andre Braugher left the series. You could pretty much get away with just about everything, but once Andre Braugher left, Eddie Falco left, the Baldwin dude, not Alec, it was another one. I don't know if it was William. He kind of looks like Alec. You know, once they had left, Ned Beatty left the show as well. You know, once they left, it was kind of like, you know, show started getting kind of weak there. Even when Giancarlo Esposito was on there. Remember that? Even when he was on that show. Now that I've said that, you guys are probably like, wait. Giancarlo was on Homicide, Life in the Streets? Yeah, he was on that series. His character was kind of, you know, it was all right. But once those main characters I just talked about rolled out, that pretty much was the end of it, man. All right. Next edition of the RCWR Show dropping Wednesday night. We'll be coming on as soon as NXT and AEW gets off the air. We'll dive into more little tidbits, more little headlines. I wanted to just kind of have this be as condensed as possible for now. Sure, there's a couple other little tidbits that went down since last we were on the air. We don't need this being a mega deluxe show. We got the Wednesday show where we can pretty much get into anything we had missed from Monday. But in the meantime, I want you to be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads, wherever you get your podcasts, including Amazon Music and Audible. I love that I've been seeing our listenership increase from those of you that's checking us out on the Amazon Music and the Audible. So mad shout out to you guys. I appreciate that. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you go check out those unboxing and unveiling videos that was put out last week. Everything culminated in the Spawn Kickstarter unboxing and unveiling. Good shit. Had a lot of fun with that. It's been getting some good buzz. I'm seeing. So check that out. And one more time, man, if you had fun, you enjoyed yourself here tonight, please go out of your way. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that like, click that subscribe, hit that bell notification so you don't miss out on all future content that comes your way. Those of you that had checked out the show live, appreciate it as always. Wednesday night, think of some questions. It can be wrestling or non-wrestling related questions. Let's see if we can garner up some stuff where we can do a little Q&A for Wednesday's show, because I doubt there's going to be that much headlines that we can get into. That way we can kind of have a little bit more of a laid back, more kind of show we could do Wednesday when we get done with the talk of AEW and NXT. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use keywords, the RCWR Show. And until Wednesday night, I'm wishing all of you all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. And y'all take care. Good night. Good morning.